The Forgotten Diary. It was a dark and stormy night in the small, isolated town of Ravens Hollow. The wind howled through the trees, and rain beat against the old, creaking windows of the only house at the end of the long, winding road. A young woman named Emma, a curious and adventurous young woman, had just moved to the town to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. She had found a charming but eerie house that had been abandoned for years. The locals warned her about the history of the place, but she didn't believe in ghost stories. One evening, as she explored the attic, Emma stumbled upon an old, dusty diary hidden beneath a pile of forgotten belongings. The diary was old, its pages yellowed with age, and the ink had faded, but she could still make out some of the words. Named Sarah, who had lived in the house many years ago. The entries were chilling, filled with tales of strange occurrences and a growing sense of dread. Sarah wrote about hearing whispers in the night, seeing shadows moving in the corners of her vision, and feeling an icy hand on her shoulder when no one was there. As Emma read on, she couldn't help but shiver. The entries became more and more disturbing, describing a malevolent presence in the house that seemed to feed on her fear. Sarah's writing grew increasingly erratic, and the final entry was barely legible. Emma decided to investigate further, driven by her curiosity. She reached out to the local historian, Mr. Roberts, who had lived in Ravens Hollow his whole life. He was initially reluctant, but eventually agreed to meet her. As they sat in her dimly lit living room, she showed him the diary and asked if he knew anything about Sarah. Mr. Roberts' eyes widened as he skimmed through the diary. He explained that Sarah had lived in the house during the 1920s and had gone missing under mysterious circumstances. Her disappearance had been the talk of the town for years, but her diary had been lost and forgotten. Emma pressed Mr. Roberts for more information, but he hesitated. Reluctantly, he admitted that people had claimed to see a shadowy figure in the house's windows, especially during stormy nights, resembling Sarah. Emma's heart raced as she listened to the old man's tale. He warned her to leave the house, but her determination only grew. She needed to unravel the mystery surrounding Sarah's disappearance and the sinister presence in the house. The storm outside intensified, with thunder rumbling through the night. Emma went back to the attic and continued reading Sarah's diary. It was then that she felt a sudden chill in the room, and a faint whisper echoed through the darkness. She turned to see a shadowy figure, resembling Sarah from a century ago, standing before her. Frozen in fear, Emma could do nothing as the ghostly figure raised an icy hand towards her, mirroring the same encounter Sarah had described. It seemed the spirit was trapped, reliving her terrifying final moments, seeking release from the house's haunted past. As the ghostly hand brushed Emma's shoulder, a bolt of lightning struck the house, and the room was plunged into darkness. When the power returned, the ghostly apparition was gone, and Emma was left trembling. She finally understood the warnings and the chilling history of her new home. With a newfound fear, she vowed to find a way to free Sarah's tormented spirit and put an end to the house's eerie legacy. And so the mystery of Ravens Hollow and the Forgotten Diary became Emma's haunting obsession, a journey into the unknown that would test her courage and sanity, leaving her on the edge between the living and the dead.